Good evening. I know that was a long video, but it was so good. I had to share it for this show. And I want to give credit where credit is due. Uh, the handle at the end, I don't know if that's still their handle, but person who created that video was Reverse Mocking, also known as Ready Player Wolf on X. Excellent video. That was made a few years ago. And, but, you know, wanted to share it. Whoa, I didn't know it was full screen like that. How is everybody this evening? I'm excited to get started. I was going to make this super cash and just talk about current events. And then I was sent some information, some statistics, and I'm like, is that true? And right after work, I was going down a rabbit hole, and you know how one thing leads to another when you start looking to see if something is actually true. So anyway, that's what I did. So I've got a little change of plans for tonight. We'll see how this goes. It's a little crazy, but if you'd like to follow and support me, you can do so. You can go to linktree/NevsTV or buy some merch on Nevlanders.com. So, but let's go ahead and get started. Good evening, Carrie. I see you there. I don't know if something happened to Rumble because there was like a lot of people in there, and then I don't know if it's because I started late or what, but then I'm not seeing folks in Rumble, but I see some folks are on X. Welcome to the show. So I think what I'll do, since I did plan current events, I'll start out with a few of those, and then we'll get into my little mini dig tonight. There's probably so much more I need to dig on that stuff, but let's just start with some current events that I have not posted yet. We'll start with Comey. How about we start with Comey? He is something. So he posted this on Instagram. This says 8647, 86 meaning get rid of, and 47 meaning the president. And these are some seashells and rocks, I think, on a beach. And everybody was talking about this on X today. That former FBI director Comey posted it, saying it's a threat against Trump. And it made the rounds today. And so, what did he do? Well, let me bring this. I've got a couple of things I want to bring up on this. So Kristi Noem, she said that, he called for the assassination of President Trump by posting that, and that the DHS and the Secret Service, my throat is really dry. Sorry, guys. The DHS and Secret Service is investigating the threat and will respond appropriately. Ooh. Yeah. That's kind of interesting that Kristi Noem even commented on it. So what does he do? He tries to act dumb. He posts a follow-up reply that says, I posted earlier a picture of some shells I saw today on a beach walk, which I assumed were a political message. I didn't realize some folks associated those numbers with violence. It never occurred to me. But I oppose violence of any kind, so I took the post down. Okay, first of all, he didn't just see some shells on a beach walk. This is actually something that's been going around for a little while, so I don't know if he thinks we're stupid, but the 8647 has been going around for a while, and people have been getting slack for it. But anyway, he just thinks we're dumb. So this person
It's treason, then.
It's treason, Ben. Anyway, yeah. So he tried to backtrack and say he wanted to apologize, but yeah, no. Did I have two posts on his apology? Oh, no, this is the same thing, just side by side. Anyway, so that happened. And another cool thing that happened was Governor Ron DeSantis has signed a bill making Florida the second state to ban fluoride from its water system. So I know this was, what other state was this done in? I think it was done in another state. And I had brought this up before, and I don't know. I just think, just like with the chemtrails, how there's several states working to ban the chemtrails. I feel like this should be something that all the states implement. The chemtrails, though, I think should be more of a federal law, because one state can impact the other state, and I don't know how water is shared across states. Like, I hope RFK Jr. does something related to this. So anyway, there's some great comments in here with a lot of information on fluoride, but I'm not going to spend too much time on it because I want to get to my little mini dig tonight. That's what I want to do. So, all right. Next, no more COVID shots. So, breaking RFK HHS to stop recommending COVID shots to children, teenagers, and pregnant women, as per the Wall Street Journal. And Drago said, yes, it's happening because RFK confirmed. Oh, RFK was confirmed, and he said it's happening. So anyway, I was really excited to see that announcement, an article in the Wall Street Journal. So also posted related to this is that there's no evidence that from the FDA commissioner to support that the COVID shots are needed for healthy children. And a formal announcement is expected in the coming weeks. So we have a little video here that we'll watch really quick related to this. Let me pull this up.
We have the phenomenal commissioner of the FDA, Dr. McCary. What a change it is versus what happened under Joe Biden. So a question, Doctor, that I'm getting from a lot of people, and I know that you're getting it as well, and feel free to answer it however you feel appropriate, is whether the COVID shot will remain on the child vaccination schedule. And I know that this is hotly debated. We believe on this program it should not be on the child vaccination schedule. Are you guys thinking about this? Your thoughts, Commissioner?
Look, I'd love to see the evidence to show that giving young, healthy children another COVID shot, a sixth COVID booster would help them. But that evidence does not exist. And so we're not just going to rubber stamp things at the FDA. And I don't think you're going to see a push at the CDC to be pushing COVID shots in young, healthy children. That is something that's being discussed right now. I think you're going to see some announcement on that in the coming weeks. But I know they are trying to review all of the scientific data. And guess what? There's no data. There's no good randomized controlled data that the current version, the latest formulation of the COVID shot, is necessary for young, healthy children. Other countries have already recommended against it. Other leading countries in Europe have recommended against it for young, healthy children. So I think you're going to see a look at this, and you're going to hear something forthcoming.
Well, I'm thrilled to hear that. And as you
that's good news. And honestly, they need to look at all the vaccines for children. I remember growing up, I think we had a list of 4 or 5 that were required for school or whatnot. And those were the recommended ones. Now there's like, I don't know, 30 to 40. It's ridiculous. They need to look at that. Not just get rid of COVID, but look at all the childhood vaccines. So Carrie says 5 states have banned lab green meat. Did you mean lab grown meat? Really? That is interesting. I didn't even know that. That's pretty cool news. And for those just joining, I'm going over some of the current events I was going to cover before I get into my little mini dig that I did tonight. So yeah, I just, oh yeah, you did mean lab grown meat? Yeah. I figured that was a little fumble with the fingers there. So no big deal. That's a pretty cool side note though. Thanks for sharing that. I got to go find it so I can post it. Then the UAE, really cool. So Trump did he's doing his Middle East tour this week. And today was the United Arab Emirates. And what a welcome he is getting and what respect he is getting from these countries. He went to Saudi, Qatar, and UAE, and it's incredible. It just reminds you, this is why I played that video at the beginning, because he's on that tour, and it reminds you of his world tour that he took back in 2017. And but what they did was they took their tallest building and they lit up the American flag on it, which is just super cool. So this is in Dubai, and that is just pretty amazing. And related to this, so William Scott did a little meme. He took this image and created a meme for Department of Winning. Oh my goodness. I just love that. Yeah. Barron Trump is tall. How tall is that boy? How tall is he? He's taller than his dad, who is very tall. So I think, isn't he 6'7" or 6'8" or 6'9" or something like that? And just speaking of the tour, I love Dan Scavino posted some pretty cool things. I'm just going to scroll down a little bit. I'm not going to like open up and play all these videos, but he's got like this video of Air Force One and the Qatar Air Force was escorting Air Force One. So was the Saudis. Where is that one? Saudi Arabia too did an escort for Air Force One, and just the respect they have for President Trump. What a contrast! You remember when Joe Biden went to Saudi, and what did they do? Bumped elbows and come on in. And Trump gets a royal purple carpet laid out for him and all of that. Oh, he's 6'7". Thank you. We've got Empru responding that he's 6'7". Anyway, I thought that was super cool about the escorts. And of course, Dan, he always posts the whole what do you call that? The cars that accompany Trump. Anyway, yeah, and so here's him just departing Qatar, but check out this. So they were en route to the UAE, and that's just incredible view from the window. UAE does everything big, everything. Was that the country, or was it Qatar that wanted to offer Trump a ride in their luxury jet or something like that? Anyway, so when he arrived in the UAE, they had a big welcome for him. And it's just really grand. All of these ceremonies he's attending, the welcomes he's been given, the respect that he's been getting. Scavino posted this too, calling Comey a POS. So, anyway, I just thought that was pretty cool. You know, the thing I really wanted to point out was the face or the escorts that their Air Force did for Air Force One. Pretty cool. So a motorcade. Yeah, see, Carrie, I'm getting old. I thank you. So we've got this question here. What do y'all think of the Middle East embracing Trump so full throttle? They did it in 2017 too, by the way. Is it due to them wanting to do business and make money? I'm asking seriously so I can understand. You know, I think there might be some things that we're not aware of, but they did this also back in 2017, full throttle, with the big sword ceremony. They had a sword ceremony too for him in one of these countries. I think it was Qatar that did that for him. And I'm not really sure why it's so much more present than, it's so much more extravagant than when you see other presidents visiting these countries. But the other thing is, like, Trump really wants to get Saudi too to be a part of the Abraham Accords. He talked about in his speech about that and wanting peace and not wanting people to be killing each other. And he got a standing ovation for that in Saudi. It was pretty incredible. So, yes, his first trip, Missy, in 2017. That's right. So, anyway, I just thought this whole trip was pretty cool. And then we've got another thing. Carrie sent me this video that was the coolest thing. So there was, Trump did a speech, and some of the folks that attended the speech were interviewed after. And this is getting their reaction, which I think is super cool. I'm taking the share screen off because I want to cue it up in case it just starts playing. And yeah, which it did. So I've got it queued up here, and let's listen in.
It went on for another hour. I could have sat there. The way he did it, the tone of his voice, and the points that he chose. I mean, if you want from a point of social, you want a point from political, you want a point from business, you want a point from defense, you want a point from technology. He covered all those and just did it in such a elegant way.
The truth is that he obviously cares about peace around the world, and he spent his entire 4 or 5 months of his administration sending his emissaries around the world to create peace deals.
Yeah. So they were saying he was elegant, that woman said she could sit and listen for hours. Pretty incredible reaction to Trump. So pretty cool. I think that's all I'm going to cover. I had some more current events, but those were what was on my mind, I guess, at the top of my mind. So I'm going to explain what happened. So yeah, I get home from work, and Carrie, actually, it's your fault, Carrie. It's your fault. Carrie sent me this information. She knew that I have been following the South African persecution of white people and the farmers there. And so she just sent me these stats, and we're both like wondering, I wonder if this is true. So I'm actually going to pull those stats up first that I saw that she sent me. So these are the stats that South Africa effed around and we'll find out that white farmers in South Africa currently produce, they're talking about 90% of most of the food there. And so I'm like, wow, is that really true? That's crazy. Then so I'm going to back up and kind of talk about what's happening there. So that just got me researching to see just if those stats were true, and then I was going to post them. But you know how those things go when you start researching, and then you're like, oh, and this, and oh, and this. So I'm like, I'm just going to talk about this tonight because that will be a lot easier. So, oh yeah, the response to President Trump's speech, Emperor says it says a lot because they know Donald Trump is friends with Israel. That's true, but I think they realize that he just wants peace and he's not like part of the establishment that just wants to take over countries. I don't know. But anyway, so back to this. So yeah, I went down a rabbit hole, but I wanted to start with what happened. So actually, and I might go back in time a little bit, but so in December 2024, actually, maybe I'll start before that. In the 1990s, in South Africa, they put laws in place on wanting to fix what they say happened as a part of apartheid. Now, apartheid is basically where groups are segregated, and there was a lot of segregation happening in South Africa, where blacks were segregated and whites were segregated, and so there was a lot of consternation about that. And there's, it's really hard to know the true history, because when we look at history, now that we have researched and found out information about things we thought were true and were not. But so I'm not sure the full history of what went on there, but the mainstream version, and I say mainstream like that because I almost feel like we don't know the whole truth, but the narrative is that, white people came during the 18th century and took over everything and took over the farms and the economy and commerce and all of this stuff. So what they were trying to do in 1994, 1996, I don't remember what the year was, but they wanted to, within 30 years, kind of try to rebalance things and try to get, more land ownership with Black people and take away, they wanted at least 30% of the farms that were owned by white people to be back in the hands of Black people. So this is the whole, I don't even know why governments, laws, different things like this even look at the color of people's skin. Seriously, it just causes more problems, and that's what we're seeing today. But so they wanted at least 30% of the properties owned by white farmers to be put in the hands of Black people, and they wanted to do this over the course of decades. Well, last December, some people, I guess, thought whatever progress they were trying to make was going too slow. And they put in a new law that's actually being challenged. And that's what I'm going to go through, which was to pretty much seize white farmers' property. They're saying that's not true. They're not just taking property, they're paying them. But you know what they're paying them? Like 10% of what it's actually worth. So, like there was one property that was worth about 20 million and they gave 10% of that value to them. So it basically is seizing property. So I wanted to go through some of this and give my thoughts because there's some interesting chain of events that have happened over the course of the last few years that just makes me go, you know? And I can't believe, like, I didn't even get done working until 5:30. So I had a total of like 2 hours that I was getting this stuff. So I didn't have a lot of time. Plus I had to eat dinner during that time and feed my dog and take care of him. So you'll have to bear with me while I try to go through this stuff. I'm trying to figure out the right order to go through. And maybe I'll start with Zimbabwe. So there were some warnings when South Africa was going to make some changes and do this because Zimbabwe pretty much was destroyed from trying to do the same thing. Yeah, I think I'm going to start here. So, and it says South Africa is following Zimbabwe's dangerous path regarding white people. Now, I know they're not America, but honestly, just humans shouldn't look at the color of somebody's skin and do anything related to that. It's just ridiculous. Okay. So I do want to go through this article, and I think then it will help set the context for everything else I'm going to cover here. So the parallels between Zimbabwe's catastrophic economic and social collapse under Robert Mugabe, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, and the current trajectory of South Africa under the African National Congress are becoming impossible to ignore. So, as South Africa grapples with escalating racial tensions, aggressive land reform rhetoric, and a failing economy, many fear the country is hurtling towards the same fate. So, I want to talk about that fate. Actually, down here, just these two. I'm not going to go through the entire article, but I do want to go through the history. In Zimbabwe, Mugabe's government launched a chaotic and often violent land redistribution campaign in the early 2000s. So this redistribution campaign is what South Africa is wanting to do. They seized white-owned farms, sound familiar, under the banner of correcting colonial injustices, exactly what South Africa is claiming. The result, agricultural output plummeted, unemployment soared, and Zimbabwe, once the breadbasket of Africa, became a net importer of food. They had to suddenly start importing their food. Now, South Africa's ruling ANC has pushed for similar policies, amending the constitution to allow expropriation of land without compensation. While the government insists this will be done legally and orderly, the rhetoric from the radical factions, including the economic freedom fighters, mirrors the same incendiary language used in Zimbabwe. Attacks on the white farmers have surged, with over 300 farm murders reported since 2020, according to civil rights groups. So, I'm not even sharing my screen. Sorry about that. What's been happening across South Africa to the farms is there are all these farm attacks happening where women are being raped, people are being beaten, people are being murdered, and these people are not taking anything. They're just going to terrorize the farmers or murder them. More on that to come because I want to talk about that a little bit. It's interesting. Zimbabwe's economy never recovered from its land reforms, leading to hyperinflation, mass emigration, and a currency so worthless it was abandoned. South Africa, though, is not yet at that extreme, but they're showing some signs. They've got unemployment at 32.9%, youth joblessness 60%. They had the electricity crisis. I don't know if you remember. When did I post that? In 2023? Yes. I posted this article that South Africa was on the verge of collapse a couple of years ago, a year and a half ago, or something like that. I don't know if you guys remember this, where they were having blackouts and all-out civil war. Now, yes, this is before their December law, but this December law that they just passed is so radical. You have to ask, why are they doing this? Like, they know that this can cause problems and potentially destroy their country, because looking up the stats, just in 2022, 78% of the farms owned in 50% of the land in South Africa were owned by white farmers. So that would mean what they're going after is to get rid of, I mean, imagine 78% of the farms suddenly either are transferred to other people who maybe don't have the same experience. But there's definitely going to be a disruption in the food chain in South Africa. A lot of food is grown there from. It's not just like cotton or things for clothing or things like that. There's actual food that they're growing. So why would you disrupt your economy and food for this purpose? Just ponder on that for a little bit, because I have more to come. But so this was an article I posted a couple years ago, and I'm going back to the article. So the electricity crisis and load shedding and crippling businesses. And then foreign investments are fleeing due to policy uncertainty and rising crime. So now, mind you, this article, interestingly, was just posted yesterday. Yeah. And I also recently posted about President Trump signing the executive order because there was big news about refugees coming here. But anyway, so there's racial tensions in South Africa. There have been warnings to them. They saw the history of what happened in Zimbabwe. I mean, my goodness, that was just a little over 20 years ago, you know? So there's warning signs for them. Anyway, so trying to figure out where I want to start. All right, I am going to start here. So this is from 2023. I pulled up some of my old things. I was looking to see what have I posted about South Africa in the past, because I feel like there's some dots being connected here. So January of 2023, there was a poisoning of the South African Utilities CEO. And that was really interesting. So this is a CEO who took office in 2020, and just 3 years later, he was poisoned. And that was super suspicious because that same year is when they started getting a lot of blackouts and things like that. So that's the same year that we were posting about the blackouts in South Africa. So anyway, that was a really interesting thing. You'll see when I just share with you some of the other things that happened in 2023 where maybe some dots could be connected. And I'll give you my thoughts in just a second. Then just in February 2023, a month after this guy was poisoned is when the blackout reports started. South Africa on the verge of collapse as blackouts threaten an all-out civil war. I'm just going to continue before I give my thoughts. And then in August of 2023, I posted this translation of Secretary Nuland. Remember Victoria Nuland? And the whole Ukraine thing in 2014 with her? So she traveled to South Africa in 2023. What a coincidence, right? I'm not going to read what I posted here because it's not related to what I'm talking about tonight. But I did find her timing quite interesting going to South Africa when there was a BRICS summit happening in South Africa. Fancy that, in 2023. Then Bongino in August of 2023 also called out Victoria Nuland and that Trump and RFK Jr. in 2023 were also calling her out. And I put it here, just remember, she helped take down Ukraine in 2014 and was involved. So I was sus, like, is she going to South Africa to try to do the same thing there, cause riots, and get involved in trying to topple the South African government? I wasn't sure what was going on there. So, but these were the things I pulled up, and I'm just like thinking, wow, this is just strange timing. All these things happening in 2023. And the funny thing is that later that year, I think maybe it was late 2022 when all these attacks on farms started. So we've got, no, it was 2020, but 2020 on, the last 5 years, attacks on farms started. The CEO of the utility company was poisoned. Blackouts started in February, a month later. Blackouts continued throughout that year. And then MSM is saying there's going to be a civil war. There's going to be a civil war. Victoria Nuland visits there that same year. What the heck was she up to when she went to South Africa? And now they've gone from so 2023 she was there, and then a year later they have this law in place, December 2024, for land reforms to speed up the acquisition of all the farmland from white people. So I just think, I'm just naturally suspicious just because of everything we've learned since 2017. Yes, I mean, I knew there was a lot of shenanigans before that. Like Glenn Beck pointed that stuff out in 2009, stuff that like all the connections of people and how they topple governments and how they want communism and the one world government and all that kind of stuff. But since 2017, when we were deep researching, all of us friends, I'm just more suspicious. And you see stuff like this, and it's like, okay, what's really going on there? Are they saying, look here, not there? When it comes to, maybe they want people talking about race, because they're going after white farmers, and maybe that's what they want us talking about, when really there might be a completely different agenda at play here. And my mind was just going a little bit crazy the last couple of hours, connecting some things and trying to, yes, very sus. What were they plotting? Positioning to take land from the blacks next? What's the fallout? Yes, when the fallout happens like in Zimbabwe. So here's the thing. I said I'd get back to this about what happened in Zimbabwe. Almost seems intentional. It almost, this almost seems coordinated, like, okay, the color revolutions aren't working anymore because people have woken up to them. So, and we're being exposed. So we have to try to get our agenda through different means. And I feel like civil war is one that they would love to be able to do. But maybe in different ways. Maybe instead of using the like Antifa approach, like they've been doing, they may be trying a different approach here. And I don't know, but let's continue but wait, there's more that I want to talk about. There's more I want to talk about, but before I get into any more research, one of the things that was online about the attacks against the farmers is there is a monument in South Africa. Sorry if you heard a big noise, I just hit my microphone. But there's a monument in South Africa dedicated to farmers who were killed because of the attacks. Now, mind you, before I show this, a lot of reports say, maybe I'll pull it up and then I'll tell you. Because I want to show you this monument. It's really cool. It's white crosses that were put up to honor the people who were killed through attacks on the farmers. Now, what I want to give as a caveat is that a lot of people are reporting this site, and I've got more pictures that are super cool because these crosses form a big cross on the land. But there is inaccurate information being put out there within our movement that these are dedicated to white farmers, and that's actually not true. It's dedication to any farmer who was killed through these farm attacks. But mind you, 95% of the people that have been killed were white farmers. If you think about the percentage of how many whites versus non-whites own farms, and if in 2022 it was 78%, it makes sense that if they're doing the attacks on these farms, that it's going to be mostly white people. And in fact, it is. It's 95%. So there is this monument dedicated to this. And so this, I'll expand this picture. This is an aerial view of the site where they put a cross for everyone. And then there's an African newspaper actually that I saw that posts every month how many new crosses were put up. So think about that. Like here in the United States, if farmers were attacked every month and killed, and women were raped on farms, and there were attacks like that, like that would be huge news here. But this is happening every month still today, even. And yeah, so this is one of the pictures. And this is another picture from lower on the ground. You can see how it forms a cross. And anyway, I thought that was interesting. And Elon actually commented on these crosses recently because somebody posted about, see how it says each cross represents a white farmer. It's just a farmer, but 95% of them are white. But yeah, Elon said so many crosses. What did he change his name to? Gorkalon Rust? What is Gorkalon Rust? I just noticed that. Let's see. Considering other governments worldwide, Sweden, Denmark, Germany, America, not killing but destroying farmland opportunities to farm, this seems to go hand in hand, makes the world hungry. That's right, Missy. That's what Missy just posted. If everybody's hungry, then you can control the world, she says. So that's what I was kind of getting at. So one of the things I wanted to bring up related to that was, if you all recall, the what was going on with the Dutch farmers not long ago. And similar things were happening to them where they were putting regulations in where it was impossible to farm. And farmers were going out of business. And it was just ridiculous. And as a matter of fact, I kind of want to find out what's happening there now and follow up. Who is that? Eva? I don't remember her last name, but she's Dutch, and she covers that in depth. And anyway, so so Carrie had said race divisions for sure, but I agree there's something else. Yes. And Missy got it because I was going to go to the food pretty soon, talk about the Dutch farmers. Like in Ukraine, which is the breadbasket of Eastern Europe, the globalists want the land. Yep. So I don't know if you guys remember what happened, like to Russia with the Bolsheviks, and how people starved and went hungry after the government tried to take control of all the food supply. And it just seems intentional. Now here, and Deneen actually keeps sending me info when she sees about how, because several years ago, I kept posting about BlackRock and how they're buying up the land. Now they're not buying up farmland. They were buying up single family homes, but this all kind of goes hand in hand. But Bill Gates is buying up a ton of farmland. And then it was just recently reported, which I did post today, that corporations are buying up a bunch of single-family homes, so much so that, what was the percentage that they've bought in the last 15 years? Like 30% of residential properties that were for sale. So here's the deal. If they buy up all the property people can live in, then we can't own it and we have to rent, and then they can build their 15-minute cities. And if we are hungry because we don't have local farmers that can afford to have a farm anymore, or there's policies that take them away, like in South Africa or in the Netherlands, then we'll be dependent on the government to feed us. So, that Agenda 2030 was not fake. It was real. They literally still have the same goals that they had before. And I must say, Trump, yes, I'm so happy he's back for a second term, but what can one man do in 4 years? I mean, I have faith. I do. I have faith that actually God will take care of things, to be honest. But yes, Carrie, want to control the people, control the food supply. Yep. Just like if you want to control a nation, install a central bank. Exactly this. Everything is connected. It's all connected. But let me continue with, I'll go ahead and continue with some of the stuff I have. Yeah, so I guess I covered the digging part and connecting the dots. Anytime I think about connecting the dots now, I think about Melissa, dot connecting and now because of what she called her channel. Anyway, so I want to tell you just about this group because I'm going to show a video and some information on them. This is the Democratic Alliance, is a liberal South African political party. Look at their logo. What does that look like to you? Does that look familiar? Just curious. Anybody want to put something in chat? I don't know if I'm seeing any comments on X. Sometimes I don't see the comments. I'll go on X though to see if anybody's commenting. Sorry about that. It's supposed to show any comments on X, but nope, I'm not seeing. Okay. So this looks like this looks like the logo that Obama had. Do you remember his logo? That's what it looks like to me. Anyway, the interesting thing, this is a liberal organization, but even they are against this land grab. So I wanted to bring them up just so you knew it's not some right-wing group talking about this. So let's see. Is this the same thing? Oh, yeah, I did it twice. So I'm actually going to unshare for a second so I can cue this up for you all. Yep, I bookmarked it twice. I don't know why I did that. All right. So they are doing a legal challenge to the Expropriation Act. Why can't I make this big? Hang on a second. Why can't I make it? Yeah, that's why I did it twice. Okay. Sorry, I don't know where I bookmarked it from on the first one. Okay. So I just found this interesting that they're doing a legal challenge on this.
I've just completed commissioning court papers to challenge the Expropriation Act in court. The DA is fundamentally opposed to the act in principle, and we have been since 2018, because of the fact that it opens the door to power abuse in taking people's property away without compensation in an open-ended way, which is entirely contrary to what we believe the principles of the Constitution are, and certainly opposed to the DA's policies and principles.
Yeah, it's interesting. They're almost killing two birds with one stone here. Not only are they taking farmland, but they're taking land. Yeah, I just realized that when she was talking. I'm like, oh, they're getting a 2-for-1 here. So as you all know, back in February, Trump ordered a freeze of aid to South Africa, citing the country's land expropriation law. And Trump had said that there's genocide happening there, and he's referring to those attacks on the farmers. Now, I think those attacks are not just random people getting a kick out of terrorizing farmers. No, I really think that those are coordinated and paid for. So instead of having riots in the streets, have some people go attack farmers. And here's why, and I'll bring this back up, but the thing of it is I think their first try at trying to get people to leave their farms was to do these attacks. And I'm thinking that this was coordinated because some really stupid group of people who think they're so smart were probably thinking that, oh, farmers will get scared and they're all going to just leave their property because everybody's being attacked. And that didn't happen. So now, and that's been going on since 2020. So now they've got this fast track of taking people's land from this bill in 2024. So I meant to circle back on that, my thoughts on that. And that's my thoughts. I think it's coordinated. I think the reason is they thought white people would get scared and leave. And they didn't. So now they're just going to strong arm. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. All right. So, so Trump signed this executive order, not only freezing aid to South Africa, but offering South Africans to seek refugee status here in the United States, which they did. And so the refugees, we had our first group come here, and this was just announced the other day. I already posted this, so I'm not going to read the article or anything, but here they're being greeted. There was 49 refugees that came, and the administration said that they had carefully vetted all of them before they could come. So that's pretty cool that we've got refugees coming. And what is this? Why did I bookmark this? Oh, this is just my post on this. Oh, this is why I bookmarked it. And because I was replying to Stephen Miller, and he is amazing. He is amazing. He always has been. He was amazing in Trump's first administration. After he left, he's amazing now. And he doesn't care. He doesn't care what people think. He's just going to fight. Let's listen.
What's happening in South Africa fits the textbook definition of why the refugee program was created. This is persecution based on a protected characteristic, in this case, race. So this is race-based persecution. The refugee program is not intended as a solution for global poverty. And historically, it has been used that way. Wherever there's global poverty or wherever there's dysfunctional governments, then the U.S. refugee program comes in, swoops people up, relocates them to America, and you have multi-generational problems. You even into the second and third generation, you have endemic poverty, you have crime issues, you have integration issues. The U.S. refugee program in America has been a catastrophic failure. I mean, if you look, for example, at the Twin Cities area, I mean, just in terms of markers of educational outcomes, in terms of public safety, in terms of welfare use, I mean, it's been a complete public policy failure. Mm-hmm. And so this is an example of the president returning the refugee program to what it was intended to be used as.
Yeah, so, he's right. The refugee program was never intended to be what it turned into. And, Stephen Miller, he's one of my faves, too. Emperor Stephen Miller is my absolute fave. Zero nonsense, all truth and fact, every time he speaks. Every single time. Yes, I've been praying for the people in South Africa, too. And they do need his protection. So, anyway, it's pretty cool about these refugees being able to come and have refugee status here. Okay, so that's mostly what I've got, except I have two more interesting things. So, let's see which one I should do for this one, I guess. So what's super interesting, not only did the refugees come this week, but guess what's happening next week? Guess what? The South African president is coming to meet with Trump next week. Oh, this is going to be interesting, guys. This is going to be interesting because this jerk is calling the refugees that came to the United States cowards. He called them cowards. So he says he's trying to reset relations with the United States, and that's why he's coming. Oh boy, I can't wait to see the outcome of what happens after this meeting. That's right, FAFO. Oh my goodness. So more to come. I'm definitely going to be following that, but I hope you guys enjoyed tonight's show and my mini dig where I just tried to pull a bunch of stuff at the last minute. Thanks a lot, Carrie, for sending me down a rabbit hole. I really appreciate it. Anyway, yeah, that's all I have for tonight, but I appreciate everybody for joining. I hope you learned something new or connected some dots yourself. And if you have more info, send them my way. Send me DMs. I'd love to follow more of this. So thank you so much for joining. And I hope everybody has a fabulous evening. We will see you Saturday morning for Meme Wars. Join me for coffee and Meme Wars with Herbie because, you know, we like to make fun of the left or rate some memes or just laugh a little and enjoy each other's company. All right, guys. Well, have a good night and we will see you online. Good night.
I can see clear.